Anyone? As I was saying before, which, sorry, yet another cut, but, pretty much each day I have less than 45 minutes to record this, and taking the time to set it up always leads to interruptions. I'm not some professional YouTuber, so I gotta work with what I have here. Anyway, he begged local to let him back into the server. So I decided to give him a chance because he kept pouting and claimed he changed. So I spoke with the rest of the staff, got their approval for it. I also created a poll asking if he should be allowed to return, and they decided he could. So I got his Discord, I found him again. I made sure to find him, and when I told him that as long as he changed his profile picture to something that is safe for work, I'd unban him. He did this, so I invited him back. I really figured it would have gone better than it did, but they got banned again within the first few days. I had actually befriended them at the time. At the time, they were actually telling me stuff that they didn't tell others, like little secrets, and we just had fun conversations, but little did I know just how bad it would get, and just how much of that was not genuine. Well, after this small event there, he was very quick to get banned because he was in a text channel. He was typing the lyrics of a song over and over, and in that song it said the N-word about 1,000,000 times. Each one was worth a different warning, leading to him getting, I think, over 7 warns instantly, which is, well, or I believe that's around the point where it used to be unappealable. I think it's 9 right now. Anyway, I was the one who banned him because, wasn't online when that happened, and frankly, even when I was online, I've just been really hoping that he wouldn't do something to get himself banned, because, quite simply, I don't want anyone to have to leave the server or get banned. I'm really just looking for the best interests of the server. If people are causing problems, then they need to go. But obviously, I don't want people to be causing problems. I just want them to enjoy the server. Anyway, he managed to return a third time by asking local in a different server that they both share, and he was allowed to return a final time. but it was a catastrophe that made the last one look tame. Before we move on to that, I should backtrack to something else that happened. You see, there was a while back, I don't think I've talked about this in a video yet because I've been really worried about what I say here and how certain people from the server will react, or if people will start harassing others from the server. So this time, to be extra safe, I'm not even going to mention who the specific users were. Well, who the specific user was, because frankly, this one has the highest risk of there being harassment, and I will not let that slide. If anyone joins the server with the intentions of harassing anyone, I'm sorry, you are just, I think you know. You are going to be warned or banned instantly for harassment. But there was a while back, there was a vote for the newest, well, not newest because this was the first time we ever were actually going to have any. There was a vote for the upper admin role, since there had never been an upper admin assigned before. There were, I believe, 4 or 5 candidates. There was me, there were 2 trial mods that, they were admins at that time. It was 2 trial mods that I personally had insisted be promoted. There are 2 that I personally vouched for as being really good. And I vouched for them becoming moderators. But anyway, there was this period there with people promoting someone to upper admin, and then there was also the GOAT, Sin Encryption, who was he was quite simply the one who had been, he was the oldest admin in the voting, and let's be honest, to everyone in the server, he's the best admin. Not gonna lie. He's now an upper admin, but he didn't actually win the vote there, of course, but, and actually wait, no, he did win the vote there. Forgot, or free selected. I need to get my own history of this better. But he was rightfully chosen as one of them because he's the GOAT. He's been around since very early, and he's one of few that have done their job from start to finish. He's also, in a way, what everyone in the server should try to be as a staff member. He does his job, is strict with the rules but doesn't go too far, and despite being quick to act himself, he also gives people, even if he's online, he gives trial moderators or lower staff a chance to do the warns themselves, and even tells them that he'll let them so that they know when the job gets done. I remember back in my trial mod days, that was decently helpful. It also is really inspiring for what we should be doing for trial mods. It's been something we've been really allowing since then. It's something that we've been doing to help the trial mods and help them actually stand out and show how good they are at their job. Anyway, but point is, him and Cricket, who was a co-owner, those two are the GOATs. Anyway, he was also there. There were the two trial moderators. There were the two trial moderators I promoted, of course. Redger and Sat. But anyway, those, I should probably clarify that there was an old, I kind of think I skipped over this one, but there was basically a little after the Janix incident, it was decided we needed more moderators. So, Cricket created a mod application, Google Doc, and me, Cricket, I believe Pink Corruption, and Eyes were 4 people looking over each answer in the doc and deciding who would be promoted and who wouldn't. Mainly me and Cricket, because we had the most opinions there. But anyway, we had chosen 10 trial moderators, I believe, and I think 4 of them who got promoted were GVK, Ron, Sat, Redger, and I think there might actually be a 5th one, but I really can't remember, to be honest. This was quite a while ago. And when Redger and Sat were the 2 old trial moderators that had been in the vote. And this situation, I mentioned that there might cause harassment, which is why I'm not saying who it was that did this. But in the voting, someone rigged it. I don't hate anyone. I really wouldn't have even cared about the vote at all if it wasn't for feeling disrespected by what happened, but basically someone was worried about not making it and not becoming an upper admin, and they decided to talk negatively about me because they were worried that I was going to beat them, even though they thought that I should have been one of them promoted. They still decided to talk about how their activity is way higher than mine, which was a lie at the time, and etc., leading to me losing the vote. Do note that I wasn't even doing anything myself at the time. I was asleep. I didn't even know there were those votes going on until that morning. And then I just woke up and saw myself being slandered, and that there was a vote that people went so far over that I didn't even care about. But despite all of this, do not do anything stupid. I feel like that was a ridiculous way for the vote to end. I feel like they should have just, I really wouldn't care. I feel like they should have just tried to win on their own, and if they didn't, then that's their luck, but whatever. In the end, it doesn't really matter. I just really dislike being insulted or having the work I've done be downplayed, really. I care about the server, and I do my work anyway, but my ego really, it really does not let that stuff slide. I like having people acknowledge it all the time. Anyone? So there were 3 people promoted to upper admins at the time, and anyone that is, I'm not really gonna say who those 3 are, because, gotta keep everything as vague as possible to keep anyone from harassing the one who did it. But also, don't worry, I really am not at their throat either, so you shouldn't be yourself. You shouldn't be at their throat yourself. But anyway, one of the upper admin drones later exposed. Okay, well, you know what? Never mind about that. But I'll get to that part. But shortly later, after I unbanned him, and after he was unbanned for a second time, serial designation N, he started talking about suicide. He's been saying sad stuff in his chats to me all the time. So I was someone that vouched that he was being genuine. I was very worried, and I kept trying to talk him out of everything. I stood there for hours talking, but it got pretty bad. The thing is, with the whole thing, like Pink Corruption's many suicide talks, and that one, that's another thing that is very stressful. Have you ever been so stressed out that you can't even just breathe unconsciously anymore? I reached a level where I had to consciously breathe, even though that's supposed to be an unconscious activity. If I wasn't actively trying, then I just wasn't breathing at all, and it hurt. Yeah, that's the situation. And I was really worried. Especially worried when it looked like it was finally over. And the next day, I heard that it was all a lie, and that they actually did it anyway, despite saying that they wouldn't. Such mind games, because that was also a lie. The whole suicide, it was fake. Don't harass them. I think we've shouted at them enough already in the server. But anyway, the entire thing was fake. You have no idea how stressful that situation was for it to just be fake. It frustrates me even thinking back about it. One of the upper admins looked back and figured out that they found a lot of things that didn't add up and that suggested it was faked. So they looked a little deeper. They searched for mutual servers that they shared with them and wanted to see if they've sent a message in any of those since the last suicide message. And what do you know? That was the perfect choice, because the first thing he found when he checked a server was him saying, was a message from serial designation N, blatantly saying that he faked his suicide in another server he's in, aka local server. Yeah. This is bringing back some bad memories. Anyway, we were all furious, of course, and he immediately got banned for a final time. Which is sad because he was currently a trial moderator. He was officially at his chance to finally make a change. Just recently, I'd even told him right before this event that I was very proud of the work he had done and that he managed to go from being banned and one of the most hated members to being a trial moderator and one of the higher end ones. But, of course, he faked his suicide. That really was not gonna slide. There have been so many fake suicides in the server, it is ridiculous. It makes it really hard to care at that point, because it's just been faked so many times that it's hard to see anything of it as real. It was especially frustrating given that a good while before this, Pink Corruption had a second suicidal outburst, which this time lasted like a day or two, and he left the server just to come back later talking about things to do for the server and suggesting the promotion of a new co-owner, which everyone knew, including him, would be himself. Everyone knew that would be the next co-owner chosen. But anyway, this isn't something that really matters. It's just, see what I mean here? So many people talk about suicide and then just, it feels like everyone has some ulterior motive, so they say something about suicide to get everyone wanting something from them, or to keep everyone begging for something, begging for them to be around. And it feels like everyone uses this to get something beneficial. I'm not going to claim that that's actually the case. I don't think Pink Corruption would do that, but it really feels like they are. He said he won't, so he said that's not what he's doing, so I believe him, but, you know, to me it feels really horrible. It feels like that. And it just really frustrates me, to be honest. Anyone? We had a talk with serial designation in publicly, and, well, what do you know? It turns out that, by the way, I should mention this, but his talk about suicide had literally been so depressing that he almost dragged someone else down with him. And this person was being 100% genuine, unlike him. Which really shows how out of hand the situation had gotten, but it's getting more out of hand by the second, because the next one, we had a group chat where we spoke to him about everything, and to be frank, it felt like he was making excuses at every turn. Not only did he admit that he lied to everyone about everything, such as his gender, something he told me his actual gender before, but wanted me to hide it from everyone else, because he'd been planning this trick from the start. And anyone, he admitted to lying about that part to everyone else. And he admitted to lying about his depression in order to make me believe him so his trick would work. This ended horribly. It caused a lot of frustration and horrible times for me. And frankly, there was a large conversation that I'm not gonna even bother summarizing, just wasn't worth my time. I haven't talked to him since then. Anyone? After that, there was, well, would you be surprised if I said there was yet another fake suicide? And would you be surprised if I said it was yet another trial moderator? I swear, we have gotten a little lax with what people we allow to be trial moderators. I'm gonna check if the camera's still going real quick, but this is fun. Yeah, I'm glad I went to check the camera there, because it was at 28 minutes. That means if I spent 2 more minutes talking, the camera would have cut off. Oh, this video is going to be a really long video. But, as I said, there was yet another fake suicide from a trial moderator. That one being Wheatley. Effectively, he thought that someone in the server who was basically, they were in an relationship. Basically, someone in the server was they apparently lied about something, and they had to change their name because they lost their original account and had to get to use a different one. But because of that, they apparently thought that the other user no longer cared about them. And so he flipped out and faked his suicide. He recorded a video of him cutting his arm and sent it to them before disappearing. However, the same person yet again exposed it as being fake, just like they did with serial designation N. It really is getting sad how it keeps tricking us every time. But anyone, then there came yet another calamity, which was the invasion of numerous raiders. Essentially, people were raiding the server because one guy, specifically, they were raiding the server because one person in Wheatley's friend group was actually manipulating him, and one of Wheatley's friends actually basically manipulated him into starting a server and group chat where a bunch of people were determined to get revenge for what happened at the server, and they started bombarding the Evergon with hate messages and complaining about them exposing the fake suicide. They also started doxing members, and it was hard to actually clear up what they were doing. I won't specify how we figured out what they were doing, but I wish I could specify, but we don't want one of them watching a video if they're still at this, because whenever I ask if it's still going on, because I'm not someone directly involved with stopping this one, but whenever I ask anyone about anything going on, they tend to give me vague answers. Anyone? We had one more member who ended up getting in a relationship with a person there, not Wheatley, the one they were in a relationship with before, and they were a pretty respected member of the server. They were great, and then then things seemed to calm down a little besides the raiders. But then things did not go very well. People typically would not expect it to get this bad, but what do you know? Get another fake suicide. They essentially, because there were all these people, all these raiders, he actually was going to do it. He attempted suicide, but in the end he got afraid and went back to his computer